Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for today's video. This week we're going to kind of try something new and break our subject up into 3 videos. So today I'm going to be talking about how do you know if you're dating a narcissist. Now we want to talk about this because this is a question that we hear a lot and that we see a lot online, and I think it's relevant to a lot of people, and it's a question that is kind of getting more popular and something we're starting to ask ourselves more and more. So because of that, I think it's valuable to discuss what even a narcissist is, how do you know if you're dating one, and what do you do about it if you are. So thanks for joining us. So let's start out by talking about things you can look for when you just start dating someone or even on a first date. Before we jump into maybe some of these signs, I think it's worth noting that narcissism exists on a spectrum, just like many other things. So someone could have narcissistic tendencies and maybe not be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. Someone could have a very mild form of narcissistic personality disorder or a very extreme form of NPD. So it exists on a spectrum. It's important to be careful when we're talking about if someone is or is not a narcissist and where they lie on the spectrum from having a couple traits to being an extreme narcissist. Some of those first things you can look for would be things like love bombing. So a huge overload right at the beginning of dating of affection and of interest that makes you feel really good. Another thing that people who have narcissistic traits struggle with is being vulnerable. So if you're on a date with somebody and they're having a really hard time being vulnerable or being open or anything like that, that could be a sign to look out for. Another thing to look out for would be a lot of excessive talk about their own self and their own accomplishments. A lot of times when we think about going on a date, we think about getting to know the other person. Someone who may fall into this category will probably spend more time talking about themselves and the things they do to inflate their sense of self-importance, to impress you, and be more fixated on their own goals and accomplishment. This also leads to them typically not being super interested in you or your needs or your goals or desires or dreams, and not being very validating to you, the way you feel about certain things either. You might also be able to get some signs from the way they treat other people. Based on the way they talk to the wait staff if you're at a restaurant, or anyone that they might consider lower than themselves. With narcissism comes this inflated sense of importance, and in turn makes other people that don't fit into that category somehow less than them, and the way they treat them might be less than an equal or another person even. There's also some research that indicates that in a lot of situations, narcissists will make a really good first impression. They're very charming, and that is part of the danger. That's part of the reason we do end up dating narcissists. So research shows that they make a good first impression, but that does not last through the night, or that does not last the longer you get to know them. Even in that one date, in that one night, it might be obvious that you might have really liked them at the beginning, but by the end of the night, you're not liking them so much anymore. Now, if we're talking about a long-term relationship with someone who's narcissistic, there might be some other things to look out for. This would include things like gaslighting, where you start to question your own memories, question if things really happened a certain way because of the way they talk to you and the way they gaslight you. Gaslighting is a powerful tool for control and manipulation, which are 2 really important things to someone who experiences narcissism. Another possible sign is someone with no long-term friends. If your partner or spouse can't maintain long-term relationships and long-term friendships, there's a good chance that they learned that people need to earn their place in their life, and that people that won't respect them and treat them with that same level of importance that they believe about themselves maybe don't deserve that spot, and they struggle to keep those long-term friendships and relationship. What seems like an excessive amount of picking on you can also be a sign of someone who is a narcissist. They find their importance off of making other people feel less important or feel small. So if they do that to you and it seems like it's gone past the line that you're comfortable with or that you think might be teasing, it's probably to help them inflate their own sense of self-importance. We've talked about some more specific ways we can maybe see if we're dating a narcissist. And at a more general level, narcissism is rooted in someone's own problems. It's rooted in their own pain, and that it manifests by inflicting that pain or those problems on other people. Any behavior you see that seems like a problem of theirs that they make about you and try to make it into your problem, that's kind of the overarching theme of narcissistic tendencies. Now, Shara will talk more in a video in a couple of days about what to do if you are dating a narcissist. What are your options? But very briefly, just to give you kind of an idea, you have two choices. You can be in a relationship with a narcissist, but it will require some accepting of what that relationship is going to look like. There's going to be some limitations on what that person can provide for you and what you can expect from them. So you can be in that relationship, but to reduce the pain you feel, you'll need to accept some of the limitations of that relationship. Of course, the other option is to leave that relationship, which I know is easier said than done, but if you decide to sit in the middle of those two choices and just tolerate, that's going to be painful, and that can wear on you after a long time. Thanks for joining us for the video today. Stick around for the next couple videos. We're going to talk more about this topic, more about narcissism, more about what to do if you're in a relationship with someone who is narcissistic, and just kind of more discussion about it. So if you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, and comment. We'd love to talk to you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.